comfortable place for yoga today. Find a comfortable place in the room, comfortable place on your mat, and a comfortable place in your body and your thoughts. Bring your awareness to your breath and start intentionally expanding your breath larger than it normally is. And then start experimenting with how expanded can you get. Can you expand in all directions? Out, down, back. And then we're going to see if we can expand the bottom portion of our body first. So as you breathe in, let the belly expand. And then let the chest rise and fill. And as we exhale, we'll let the chest release first and the belly last. So fill from the bottom up. And release from top down. Come back to the natural breath. And we'll roll the shoulders. And circle the elbows. And take those hands as far back as you can with them out to your sides. And then around front, cross them over as much as you can without rounding the spine. We're going to keep the spine in neutral position for now. Take them back as far as you can. And then bring the elbows in towards your sides, palms go up. We're going to keep doing this, bringing your hands as far back as you can. It might feel like you're having to push your elbows forwards a little bit to keep them from sneaking out behind you. And then take one arm up and over, and we're gonna just explore and play. And the other side. And bring it on up. If you have your ankles crossed, we're going to cross them the other way. And we'll play with the rib cage. We're going to send it to the front diagonal. And then the opposite diagonal. So back, front diagonal, and back. And then we'll do the opposite diagonal, front, back, front, and back. Go ahead and take it in a circle. Feel free to pause in any sticky spot that needs more attention. Other direction. And go ahead and take your torso, bring it forward over your lap with a straight spine. Feel this stretch in the hips, the low back, but really feel like you're lengthening your belly button up and over your lap. And then allow your back to round and your body to drape into your legs. Bring it on up. Again, we'll switch our ankles the other direction. Lengthen the spine and reach over the lap. Make sure that your tail is staying down on the ground. And then let yourself drape forward. And bring it on up. We're going to do that one more time, but this time we're going to bring the soles of our feet together. And I'm going to start with assisting that stretch of up and out of the hips. Bring myself forward. I'm going to assist with my hands. So you can either grab your feet or maybe your ankles. I want to avoid turning into a gorilla. So I'm going to pull those shoulders back or push them down. And then drape forward, forehead towards the toes. bring it on up. Let's take those feet to the floor, nice and wide, wider than your hips. We'll support ourselves with our hands behind us. Drop the knees left and right. Go ahead and stay on one side. Bring your torso towards that front knee. And we're actually going to pop up on our shin. Let the back leg stretch out long behind you, preferably with the kneecap tucked under. All right, set it back on your hip. We're going to take both knees over to the other side. Up on the shin. Feel free to rock into the hips and lengthen out the rectus abdominis, opening the heart. And then take it back. We're going to go over to the other side again, but this time if you can do it without hands, maybe picking your feet up off the floor. Get a little bit of that core strength in there. Come over to the shin. All right, we're going to tuck under the back toes, lift our knee for the moment, get that good stretch for the hip flexor. And then press it back to a plank. You can do a kneeling plank or a plank from your toes. And then our front knee that we just had up there, we're going to bring back again, but we're going to bring it to an elbow instead. And then back to your plank. Elbow on the other side. Back to your plank. And then right back down to the floor where it was. Stretch out the abs. Switch to the other side. No hands if you can. Back toes. Lift the back knee. And plank. Now, if elbow planks are better for you, this might be quite challenging from your elbows, but you can do it on your elbows from like blocks or a bolster. All right, so we'll go knee to elbow, then back. Other elbow, and back. Shin to floor. Stretch. We're going to do that one more time to each side. Find your plank. Knee to elbow. Plank. Other elbow. Plank. Shin to floor. And stretch. Switch for the last time. Toes under, knee up. And plank. Knee to elbow. Plank. Other elbow. Plank. Shin to floor. Stretch. Come back to your tail. And we're going to lay down on our backs. Let's take just a moment to draw circles on the ceiling with our knees. And then as we do this, we'll play with pressing our low back into the floor. Keep that spine on the floor all the way down. Switch your circle's direction. And then we're going to play with, again, dropping our knees left and right. Slowly, slowly lifting it back up. My knees aren't actually touching the floor. They're just getting close enough that I can really feel my torso have to work to get them back up. All right, now if that was a good amount of work for you, you hang out right there. If you'd like it a little bit more challenging, lengthen the legs until it's the right amount of challenge for you. And take it left to right. The slowest part of the movement should be on your way back up. One more to each side. Go ahead and reach up and grab those ankles or toes and take the knees wide. So we're back in this Baddha Konasana, bound ankle pose or butterfly. We're just laying down this time so our spine is extra flat. Just like before, we're going to pull the shoulders back, use our arms to help us get our feet and our face a little closer together. Go ahead and take the feet apart. We'll do happy baby pose. Knees go towards the armpits. And then lengthen those legs. Take it out to a straddle. Maybe you keep holding on to the feet, or maybe you switch to the ankles. Whatever works for you, but take the legs as long as they'll go. Roll the ankles, wiggle the toes. Bring those knees back together. We're going to rock a bit, left and right, front to back, massaging your back. And go ahead and rock yourself up to sitting. And bring your hands between your knees. Grab for your toes. Lengthen the spine as much as you can. Pull the shoulders back as much as you can. I know that's harder in this pinched position. But let's go ahead and take one leg and we're going to play with it. We're going to see what it has to offer as far as moving around. And then the other side. Now we're going to see if we can balance on the back of our tush and do both at once. So lean back until the feet start to float. And maybe this is challenge enough for your core, or maybe you'd like to start exploring. And bring it back to your sitting Baddha Konasana. Lengthen out the spine. And then drape forward over the top of it. Alrighty, we're going to come on up. Stretch your legs out straight in front of you. Tuck your tail and slowly roll back to lying flat on the ground. Bring your knees up. And we'll play with some simple bridges. Tucking the tail, rolling up as high as you can. Feel a good squeeze. Roll it back down from top to bottom slowly like a wave. Take those at your own pace. And from the down position, We're going to take our left heel straight up to the sky. Press it up there. And then we're going to take it across the body. Try and keep your left hip on the floor, but your left heel is reaching over to the right. Press through the heel to really get that stretch. And then the opposite, take it out as far into your half a straddle as you can. Keep your right hip on the floor. Now let's move back and forth through that range of motion. What I want you to focus on is pulling the navel towards the spine throughout the movement. This movement can feel very, very simple if you just kind of flail through it. But if we're focusing on exhaling that navel down towards the spine and keeping the pelvis flat on the ground, it can be very activating for those muscles. And put that foot down, we'll switch sides. Right heel right up to the ceiling. Take it across the body as far as it'll go while keeping the right hip flat on the ground. Breathe into the stretch, it can be intense. And then take it out to the widest half straddle you can get it to while keeping that left hip on the floor. You'll notice that the opposite knee wants to do the opposite to counterbalance your long leg. And feel free to do that as much as you need to, but do make sure that you're activating your core, that that's doing the majority of the work here. And we'll windshield wiper, very focused, left and right across the body. And we'll take that foot down too. All right, so from this bridge prep position, I want you to bring your thighs together. Bring those knees together and feet together and squeeze. I want you to imagine that you've got a zipper coming down from your tailbone and it's going to zip towards your knees. Feel that contraction in the low belly. I want you to hold the contraction, but take deep breaths at the same time. So those abs are focusing on staying strong and solidified, and yet they're allowing you to expand enough that you can get those deep breaths that we practiced at the beginning of class. You might notice that the exhales feel like a crunch even though you're not lifting off the floor. All right, release and relax. Let everything wiggle and let go. Let's head back back to our simple bridge, rolling up and rolling down. And then we'll return to our pendulums. So go ahead and bring your feet off the ground, lengthen the legs to the challenge level that's right for you today. And it might be a little bit less than you started with first thing just because those muscles are already tired now. But we're gonna go ahead and slowly drop from one side to the other. Last one. And return. All right, from our bridge pose this time, we're gonna stick our left heel up in the air. Tuck your tail. See how that makes your foot go up a little bit when you really tuck it under? I want you to make that go even further. So press down through your supporting foot to bring your hips off the floor, maybe an inch or two, and back down. Now if that inch or two felt great, maybe you take it into a one-legged bridge. If your knee doesn't appreciate that, make sure that it's not swinging out wide. If it still doesn't appreciate it, maybe just keep it lower. There you go, push that heel up to the ceiling. And bring it down. We'll switch sides. Start by just curling your tail under and feeling that lift that happens automatically. And then accentuate it by pressing down through the foot to lift your heel. And let it go. Well, let's go ahead and bring our hands back to our feet. We'll do our happy baby pose. And our straddle. And rock and roll. Rock forwards until you come all the way up to your seat. Let's go ahead and we're going to keep playing with that a little bit. We're going to rock and roll until we come to a boat or feet floating. So we're going to try to balance ourselves without letting the feet touch down. Open chest when you get there. Now, if you'd like to take bigger forms of boat, feel free. And then just bring yourself back up to a seat. All right. We're going to stretch out the outside of the hips by bringing the right knee up in front. Pull it close, elbows down and back. If this is not enough stretch for the outside of the hip for you, cross it over the other knee. Now the challenge here is making sure that your rear end stays down on this side. You've got a long waistline. And you can either stay right here, or if a deep spinal twist is right for you, we can lengthen that spine up, rotate it over, turn around, look behind you. Still pressing down through the buttock. And unwind. We'll take the other side. Again, we can start here, cross it over. If you'd like to, make that spinal twist. Unwind. We're going to take this top leg around behind us. Lean back until you go to quadricep stretch. And again, we're going to rotate towards the front knee. But this time, instead of coming up on our shin, our focus is going to be on lengthening the torso, pulling our ribs up away from our hips, and rotating if that's all right for your spine. Reach on back, grab for your back leg. We're gonna lift it up. Now, if you tend towards getting hamstring cramps, I want you to take your foot and actively try to pull it away from your hand. That's gonna deactivate the cramp for you. And then release that push and bring in the foot as close as is right for your amount of stretch. All right, now we've got the quads loosened up and we've got the torso loosened up. Maybe if you'd like to, we can add the top half of this pose, which is to bring the hand up and the other hand up and over like we practiced in the beginning of class. And when you're ready, we'll let it go. Let's switch over to the other side. We'll start with the quads. And play with the stretch of the torso. And honestly, it's always interesting to me how this type of stretch sometimes feels like really deep and exactly what I need, and then at the moment I turn to the other side and I'm like, I'm not feeling it at all. Even though we did all of that transverse abdominal exercise. There we go. All right, let's grab that back leg. Again, push the foot away as much as you need to deactivate any cramping. If you'd like to, we can play with the top half of the pose. And let it go. Make your way again to lying on your back. All right, I'm going to give you two options. One is for opening up specifically the chest and shoulders. And for that one, you're going to roll to one side and then reach this arm back. Now, I've got my elbow bent for now because I know that that's where I need the stretch. But you can play with lengthening the arm out, reaching straight back behind you. I would avoid down low though, because that tends to get out of the pec stretch that we're looking for. So the other option is to drop your shoulder blade all the way to the floor, and again, get our spinal twist. And you can, of course, adjust your legs to get maybe some hip stretch in there too. Go ahead and unwind. We'll take it to the other side. So go ahead and slide straight into the stretch that you're in need of today. And unwind. Find your Shavasana, your relaxation pose. Take any last wiggles or squirms you'd like to on your way there. And when you're there, return to that sensation of the deep breaths. large as you can. Exhale all the way out. As you take these deep breaths in and out, feel yourself more deeply relaxing, completely letting go into each and every exhale. You could feel these deep breaths like gentle gusts of wind. And you could picture in your mind the wind rolling through tall grass. See how limber and relaxed the grass is as it dances with the wind. Now allow the dance to get softer and slower. Now, bring your awareness back to this room. Back to your body resting on the floor. And begin to move and stretch and reawaken the body. Take your time, bringing it up to sitting. We'll bring our hands to heart space and our thoughts to a place of gratitude. Together, we're going to take a deep breath in and let it out. And if you'd like to Om along with me on the exhale, please do. Deep breath in. Thank you. Namaste.